Hello, welcome to today's video. So today I figured I would do a little bit of a life update, but just to keep it a little bit more on theme, it's also going to be just like a teeny tiny book haul. I have 6 books that I'm going to talk to you about today. I have bought more books that I have never really been like hauled on this channel. For example, I bought traditionally published version of Blood Over Brighthaven. I don't do a ton of book hauls, but since December, I have bought 6 books. So I figured I would do like a little bit of a haul. But first, I'm gonna get into just a couple of little life things, and then we'll move into the book haul. So if you've been around for a while, you know, like if you've seen my TBR game, if you watched my Q&A, if you've heard me just generally speak about life stuff, you may know that for a very long time, I was the manager of a bakery, which is where TBR Bakery comes from. My TBR Bakery special order mini game. Like the themes on the channel that have to do with bakery things were themed around my real life full-time career as a manager of a bakery. It is fun to work in a bakery. You get to play with cakes, decorate, like all the things. You get all the smells and the warm ovens to stand in the winter, which is great. But that job also came with a lot of stress and a very long commute. So one good thing about the commute was that I listened to a lot of audiobooks because I just built in had between 2 and 3 hours a day of listening to audiobooks. But driving is one of the major drivers, I guess you could say, of my anxiety. So being in the car that long, doing that much driving every single day was not good for my mental health. And on top of that, my job was getting to a place where just it was very stressful. We didn't have enough staff. We weren't getting support from corporate. Basically, a lot of things were falling on me that I had no control over. And it was just getting to the point where there was no love left in my heart for that job, for management in general. Like, I just don't want to be in charge of people anymore. I got to a place where it was either, okay, I can up my anxiety medicine and try to cope with this, because I was at a place where I made pretty good money. I had a lot of vacation time. My seniority, I was basically at the top tier because I was the manager in the department. It was at a grocery store, by the way. It's not like a fancy bougie bakery or anything. It was a grocery store bakery. I knew that I didn't want to go any further with the company, like the corporation itself. So I was basically as high on the ladder as I was willing to get with that company, and things were just deteriorating. So I was at a place in December. It's hard to say because I've been at that place for a very long time, but in December it kind of came to a head where it was like, okay, there was one very specific thing that happened that kind of was the catalyst to me being like, okay, I can either stay here, keep the vacation time, keep the pay rate, and up my medication, or I can just get out of this situation and figure something else out because I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. And that is the choice that I went with. It just so happened that when all of this was happening, my husband, I am so grateful for him and I love him so much. Even he was looking for jobs for me. And I was at the point where I was applying to anything and everything, bakery related, not bakery related, everything basically that I could find that I was even remotely qualified for, and it wouldn't have been a waste of their time to look at my resume. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to make anybody, like, I didn't want to waste anyone's time applying to things that I wasn't qualified for at all. But basically anything that I was even like remotely qualified for and thought that I had the potential to do, I was applying for. And I bring up my husband because he found this one particular position. It just happened to pop up, like he found it at the exact right time. And long story short, not getting into any details, of course, for privacy reasons, I guess. I went in for an interview. They basically offered me the job on the spot because I have so many years of management experience, and they weren't even looking for a manager. They just wanted someone that they knew was trustworthy, reliable, could work independently, that kind of thing. And basically I fit what they needed. It happened very quickly. I applied on, I think, a Monday. They gave me a phone interview on a Thursday. They wanted an in-person interview on Friday, and they offered me the job at that interview. So then it was basically a matter of 2 weeks. I went into my other job that next day and I gave them my 2 weeks. I worked it out. Like, I worked through my 2 weeks. It just happened to be during the holidays and that was it. And I left a job that I had been at for over 20 years, honestly. Not in the management position. I was in the management position for about 15 years, which in general, I think is just a little too long to stay at any job, but you know, it is what it is. It was comfortable. I made my choices, whether they were the right ones or not, to stay there for that many years. But now that it's in my rear view, I feel like a lot of people say this after they leave a job that they weren't happy at, but like, I really wish I had done it sooner. But I'm glad that it worked out the way it did. And I've been in my new position for a little over a month now. And I'm so much happier. The commute is non-existent. The job stress is basically non-existent. And I don't have all that responsibility for other people falling onto me, which is the part of management that I hated, because you can be a good manager, which I'm not saying that I was necessarily the best manager, but you can be a good manager and people are still going to do what they're going to do. Like, you can't make someone who doesn't necessarily care about the job care about the job. So I'm just glad that I don't have to be responsible for that anymore. And the good news and how it relates to BookTube is that now I'm going to have so much more free time to work on BookTube and to dedicate to BookTube. My hours have changed. I basically have, as of right now, I mean, obviously my schedule is potentially going to change, but as of right now, the way my schedule is set up, I basically have all afternoon every single day that I can do whatever I want, whether that be working on BookTube, reading, pursuing other hobbies, pursuing more education to eventually transition into something else. Like, I don't know. I haven't figured anything out yet, but I feel so much possibility in my life. And it's been a very long time since I saw like options and like opportunity in front of me, because I was just so locked into basically a dead-end job. Because like I said, I was at the highest level that I knew that I wanted to go with that company. I never would have wanted anything higher. It's just so nice to like wake up in the morning and like have hope for the day and like know that I'm gonna have time to pursue things that make me happy and not just get up, get ready, drive to work, drive home, dinner, go to bed. Like I said, I've been in the position for about a month now, and I've already done so much more with my life this month than I had in so long. Like, I was able to set up a bullet journal and I've pretty much kept up with it, which is something, it's just like an organizational tool. It's something that you're supposed to set up and it's supposed to help you, but I didn't even have time or mental bandwidth to set up a glorified to-do list. Like, that's where my brain was at. I was so frazzled. I haven't felt so good about life and so optimistic in a very long time, and it is so great. I don't even know what to say. I'm so happy. I haven't actually figured anything out yet, but you know, we're getting there. So that was my major kind of life update. My hair is driving me nuts. That was kind of my major life update, and other than that, it's just like life has been better. I just have so much more time. So like, I've been doing so much more reading. I've been doing my workouts more regularly. I've just gotten more stuff done around the house. You know what I mean? Like, it's boring, but it's these little things that seem like so average and everyday and mundane that I just didn't have time for in my life. So it's just been so nice. That being said, now I feel like I'm at a point a month in where I've done enough like sitting around and I'm ready to like get stuff done and like figure out my life. So that translates to more videos for you guys. I'm gonna try to be more on top of my content. I'm going to make myself a schedule, and by golly, I'm gonna stick to it this time. Don't quote me on that. Don't hold me to it. I love this platform. I've been making videos off and on, sometimes more off, off and on for almost 6 years now. And this is what I love to do. So I want to put a lot more focus and energy into my YouTube channel. So hopefully that will translate into more than like 1 or 2 videos a month for you guys. Because I do love talking about books. I love communicating and interacting with you guys in the comments. And now that's another thing. I'll have more time to respond to comments, so hopefully it won't take me as long to get back to you guys, because I know even recently, like my TBR video that I put up, it's taking forever for me to like sit down and get back to comments. It's not you, it's me. I need to get better about my time management. So that's where I'm going with this. Basically, what all of this means for you guys is more content. I'm gonna get myself organized so that I'm more on top of things. That leads to more content for you guys and more book chats, like chatting about books, talking about what we all love to do, which is reading, which is why we're all here, right? So that's that. That's my major life update. It's one thing, but it's one thing that completely changes what my life looks like, and therefore, hopefully, what my YouTube channel looks like. Not in terms of content. The only change to content is that hopefully you're gonna get more content pushed out to you for you to enjoy if you wish to do so. More time dedicated to chatting with you guys about books. I don't know what that looks like yet. Let me know if you have ideas that I can put into place. Like, I don't know if that's in the form of a Discord, in the form of a readathon, buddy reading, like a book club type deal. Let me know what you guys want. And I am going to figure out how to be more present on my BookTube channel. Because again, I've been doing this for 6 years off and on. It's something that I've loved. I've just never had the energy or the time to dedicate to it, and now I do. So that's where I'm at with that. That's my little life update. That's my little chat. I think talking about the channel is a good segue into my goals for the year. I only have 4 real bookish goals, and they are, the first one is to read 52 books. I have been setting this goal for the last few years. I usually blow past it, but this year is going to be really interesting to see how that goes, because a lot of times, especially the past few years, the bulk of my reading has been audiobooks, like listening to audiobooks on my commute, and I don't have that commute anymore. So we're gonna see how much that actually impacts the amount of books I read, because I'm a slow reader when it comes to reading with my eyeballs, and that's probably how the majority of my reading is gonna happen from now on. So it'll be interesting to see if I can hit the 52 goal this year, but we're still gonna aim for it. Number 2 is to read my physical TBR down by 10. I am still gonna be doing my Simplify the Stack series this year. I say series, there's only 1 video out so far. I'm 1 book away from finishing the 2nd episode. I just can't get myself to pick it up, which maybe means that I should just unhaul it and be done with the video, but I feel like 3 books in a video is a very nice round number, so I want to at least have 3 books. So that series is going to be continuing. My goal is to get my physical TBR down by 10. That is not helped by the fact that I just told you at the beginning of this video that I have a 6-book haul for you, but you know, it is what it is. Similarly, my 3rd goal is to read my Kindle TBR down by 10. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be read it down by 10 or just do like a giant unhaul of Kindle books, because I went through a phase like 7 or 8 years ago, like when I discovered like BookBub and like all those book deal sites and everything, and I got a bunch of like free and 99-cent Kindle books, things that I'm not necessarily interested in, but when it's digital, it's very easy to hoard. So I was just kind of taking all of the free books, and so I'm not necessarily interested in all of them. So I feel as though I need to do like a deep dive into my Kindle library and just like unhaul a bunch of Kindle books. But the goal is at least 10 for the year. So I think that's very doable. And then my 4th and final reading goal is to read down 4 series. So last year I said like 10 or 15 or something, and I don't think I even did 1. So we're keeping it simple this year. We are gonna say 3 series, and we're gonna leave it at that. Like, I want to read down like catch up on or finish 3 series this year. I think it's doable. We'll see. And then in terms of channel goals, I have some, but the main ones that I want to focus on that, again, impact you guys are being consistent with uploads. At least more than one a month is the goal right now. More than 1 month, 1 video a month would be great. But I think the goal is going to be 1 a week to start, and then we'll see if I can get more than that. And then also to do more live sprints. I've done 1 live sprint. Like, I've done live sprints once and it was a good time, and I keep saying like, oh, I want to do it again, I want to do it again, but it's something that I have to set aside time for, and I haven't done that. Basically, like, that's it, I haven't done it. So I need to get that organized. I need to get myself straightened out here. And I know, like, I can always do, like, the first time I did the reading sprints, it was very like impromptu. I just kind of did it, but I do want to have a little bit more of a plan going forward. Maybe like tie it into the bakery theme somehow or something like that. Like, I want to have a plan for it. So I want to do live sprints at least 3 times this year. Given that it is already almost March and I have not done one, we'll see how it goes. So I think that's it in terms of goals that you guys would be interested in at this point, potentially. I don't know if you're interested in any of this, but I mean, I guess you wouldn't still be here if you weren't. But this is getting long, so I'm just gonna get right into the book haul, and then we will be done with this video for the day, and we can all go about our lives. Okay, so these books are broken up into 3 and 3. One of them involves a little bit of an unboxing, which I don't even remember what I got, so it might be fun for both of us, for all of us, for everyone. But they're basically broken up into 2 sets of 3, and you'll see what I mean. So I mentioned earlier, I own The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So when I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night, I got it from the library, I returned it, that was it. But then I really loved it. It was a 5-star book for me, so I was like, I'm gonna buy the second one. So I bought the second one. I haven't gotten very far in it, but I already liked the beginning enough that I was like, I want to own this series. I don't just want it to be a Crescent City situation where I bought the second book because I didn't want to wait for the library hold, and then I ended up, it's like a 3-star series at best, even though the first book is so good. So I didn't want to own the rest of that. It might even end up getting unhauled, I don't know. But I knew that I wanted to own the Crowns of Nyaxia. So I'm sure you can see where this is going at this point. I bought The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I have already read this book. I wanted to own a physical copy, so here it is. And then I also bought 6 Scorched Roses at the same time because this is a little novella that has to do with the first duet or the duology in The Crowns of Nyaxia, so of course I needed to own this. If you don't know what this series is about, we are following our main character, Araya, I think it's Araya, who is a human raised by a vampire king, and she enters into this big tournament because the winner of the tournament gets anything they want. Like, any wish that their little heart desires, they can have granted, and she wants to win the tournament so that she can gain the power to avenge her parents' death or her parents' murders. And it goes from there. It's a fantasy romance, obviously involving vampires, as I said. So good. So good. If you haven't read it and you like romantasy, I mean, I'm sure you have read it, but if you haven't, definitely pick it up. This was originally recommended to me by one of you guys, so thank you so much for that, because now I'm obsessed. So like I said, I also bought 6 Scorched Roses, and then I was at the store one day and I saw The Songbird and the Heart of Stone for $18.49. It was a good price, and I knew that I wanted to own everything in this series, so I got this one as well. So those are the first 3 books in the haul. They are all Crowns of Nyaxia books. And then the second set of 3 is, during the holidays, Book of the Month had a $5 for your first box deal. And while I wasn't necessarily super interested in Book of the Month before, it was at the holidays. So it was a very like buying happy time because of capitalism and consumerism. And while I wasn't necessarily super into the idea of Book of the Month, like I wasn't sure necessarily that their book picks aligned with the kind of books that I like to read, I guess. I've never been super interested in Book of the Month, but for $5 at like the peak of consumerism kind of time of the year, I was a sucker for it. And I got a free hat. I'm not really a hat person, but like, I am a book person. So maybe I should wear the hat. It looks better than my hair today. So I said, hey, why not? Let's try it out. So the first book I got was in December, and I got The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. I did not read this during the holidays, so I guess I'm just gonna save this for next year. Or this year. Christmas this year. But it got me because the little thing at the top just says, Knives Out gets a rom-com twist in this rivals to lovers Christmas romance mystery from best-selling author Ali Carter. The bridge is out, the phones are down, and the most famous mystery writer in the world just disappeared out of a locked room 3 days before Christmas. I love Knives Out. I love romantic comedies. I love rivals to lovers. I love Christmas. I love romance, and I love mystery. So this was kind of an obvious choice for me. Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but this is something that I own. Then for January, I went with the thriller option, and I got A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. I have heard of this author. I've never read anything by this author, but it sounded interesting enough. It says, a whirlwind romance. When Theodora Scott met Connor, wealthy, charming, and a member of the powerful Dalton family, she fell in love in an instant. 6 months later, he brought her to Idlewood, his family's isolated winter retreat, to win over his skeptical relatives. Stay away from Connor Dalton. Theo has tried to ignore the threatening messages on her phone, but she can't ignore the footprints in the snow outside the cabin window or the strange sense of familiarity she has about this place. Then, in a disused cabin, Theo finds something impossible. A photo of herself as a child. A photo taken at Idlewood. I've been here before. Theo has almost no recollection of her earliest years, but now she begins to piece together the fragments of her memories and realizes she's in terrible danger. Someone here has a shocking secret that they will do anything to keep hidden, and discovering what happened at Idlewood may cost Theo everything. So I thought that sounded interesting. I feel like it's going to be very atmospheric, and considering the temperature here right now is like 2 degrees Fahrenheit, like I feel like this will be very seasonally appropriate. And then the last thing that I have to haul today is my February pick, which I forget what it is. Wait, do I remember what it is? I think it's a romance. I don't remember the name of it though, so let's discover it together, shall we? Let me open the tape. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm excited about this because I've read from this author before. The bookmark is pink this month. I love that. We're happy to call you a friend. Oh, yes, that's right. Because I got 3 boxes, I'm now a friend. Just to be clear, I don't know if I'm sold on Book of the Month yet. And the deal was basically like you got the $5 box with like a minimum contract of 3 months. So that contract is now up. I don't know if I'm going to continue the subscription or not. TBD. I haven't read any of the books yet though, so like, do I need to keep getting books that I'm not going to read? But yeah, so this book I got because I have read something and loved something by this author before. So I'm really excited about this, even though I don't really know much about it. The blue from the box kind of rubbed off on the cover, which is a little bit annoying, but whatever. It is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is the author of Love Light Farms. I have yet to continue in that series either, but I did really enjoy Love Light Farms, so I'm looking forward to reading this as well. And this one says, a hopeless romantic meets a demoralized radio host in this cozy, Sleepless in Seattle-inspired love story. Aiden Valentine has a secret. He's fallen out of love with love, and as the host of Baltimore's romance hotline, that's a bit of a problem. But when a young girl calls into the station asking for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aiden and Heartstrings into the limelight. Lucy Stone thought she was doing just fine. She has a good job, an incredible family, and a smart, slightly devious kid. But when all of Baltimore is suddenly scrutinizing her love life, or lack thereof, she begins to question if she's as happy as she believed. Maybe a little more romance wouldn't be such a bad thing. Everyone wants Lucy to find her happy ending. even the handsome, temperamental man calling the shots. But when sparks start to fly behind the scenes, Lucy must make the final decision between the radio-sponsored Happily Ever After or the man in the headphones next to her. I think that sounds so cute. It's unfortunate that it's already after Valentine's Day and I have not read this. I feel like that's the whole point of getting a romance in a February book box, is to read it for Valentine's Day, because that's like the holiday of love. But I mean, hey, I'm not gonna say no. Once again, I really enjoyed Love Light Farms. I really like BK Borison's writing, so I'm very excited to read something else by the author. So that is my little book haul that I have for you guys. And I think this is all the books that I've bought since the beginning of the year. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't buy that many books, so I feel like I would remember if I bought anything else. But this is my stack of books for the first couple of months of the year. Actually, it's only been a month and a half. So do I really not buy books? Well, no, to be fair. This one was from last year, so I've only bought 5 books so far this year. So this is my little book haul for the first part of the year. I don't, like I said at the beginning, do book hauls very often, but I am going to try to add book hauls on the channel as they are necessary. Like whenever I have at least probably like 6 books, I will do a book haul for you guys, just because I know that when I watch creators, like I'm interested to know what they're actually spending their money on. And I'm not talking about like things that people get sent to them because they're like a book influencer or whatever. I like to know what people are like actually spending their hard-earned money on. I find that interesting. So if you want to see more book hauls, let me know. They might become a little bit more regular on my channel. It just depends on how many books I actually buy. I have been using my library a lot in the past few years, especially. So when I spend my money on something, it's usually something that I'm very excited about. Except the Book of the Month box. That was just, they got me with the $5 sale. I can't help it. Usually it's something that I know I love. A favorite 5-star book that is like an all-time favorite. That's the kind of stuff I normally spend my money on, but every now and then I do end up going into the store and just like buying books. So if that happens, I am planning to do more hauls if that's something you guys are interested in. If you're like me and you like to know what people are spending their hard-earned money on, I can do that for you. Okay, I'm gonna end this video here. I know it was a lot shoved into one video, but if you have stuck around to this point in the video, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Let me know what you've bought this year so far for books, and if you read the books you buy right away. I feel like most of us don't, but if you are a person who buys a book, reads the book, buys a book, reads the book, let me know, and let me know your secrets, because again, I have bought 5 books in the past month and a half, 2 months, and I have read one of them, and I read it before I bought it. So let me know what your kind of like book buying to reading habits are, and let me know if you have any reading goals for the year, and let me know if you have made a large life-altering job change in the past and how it went for you, because for me so far it's going very well. Okay, I am actually going to end this video now. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me in my little corner of the internet today, and I will see you in my next one, hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, bye.